Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time when you have to decide, will you keep carrying the weight of what broke you, or will you finally put it down? You can't live your life with clenched fists, gripping pain, regret, and fear like they are your identity. That burden was never meant to be yours forever. You've been dragging it, crying over it, holding it tight because at least it's familiar, but familiar doesn't mean fruitful. Some of you are stuck in places that no longer serve you because you're afraid to let go, afraid to move on from the job that drains you, from the relationship that no longer grows you, from the mindset that keeps you small. But listen to me. What's ahead of you requires empty hands. You've been praying for new blessings, but God can't give them to you while you're still holding on to what He's been telling you to release. I know it's hard, I know it hurts, but growth doesn't come without stretching, and stretching doesn't come without discomfort. If you've been feeling restless, frustrated, like you don't fit in the places you used to, that's not punishment, that's preparation. You weren't created to stay in the same cycles, reliving the same pain, rehearsing the same memories like they still have power over you. You have to break up with the past. You have to stop believing that your worth is tied to what went wrong. That failure didn't disqualify you. That heartbreak didn't end you. That mistake is not who you are. It was a moment, not your identity. And the moment you decide to release it, you'll realize that freedom has been waiting for you all along. God has more for you. Life has more for you. But you have to step out in faith. You have to trust that what He has ahead of you is greater than what you're leaving behind. You may not feel ready, but obedience isn't about feelings. It's about faith. So today, make the choice. Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Force yourself to let go, even when it hurts, even when it's scary, even when it feels like all you have left. Because the truth is, as long as you're holding on to what's behind you, you'll never be able to fully receive what's meant for you. There is a weight that comes with holding on, one that slowly drains the joy from your soul, the peace from your mind, and the energy from your spirit. You carry it everywhere, sometimes without realizing how much it is pulling you down. The past, the pain, the disappointments, the betrayals, the what-ifs, the should-haves. They sit on your shoulders like an invisible burden, dictating how you move, how you think, and how you see yourself. Holding on feels safe because it's what you know, but what if the very thing you refuse to release is the thing keeping you from stepping into something greater? Letting go is terrifying because it means surrendering control. It means accepting that some answers will never come, that some apologies will never be given, that some stories will never end the way you imagined. But what if you weren't meant to carry all of that? What if you were never supposed to hold on to things that were only meant to teach you, not trap you? The moment you let go, you realize that freedom was always an option, but you had to choose it. Freedom is found in releasing the grip you have on everything that no longer serves you. It's in allowing yourself to heal without constantly reopening wounds. It's in stepping forward without needing every detail of what comes next. It's in trusting that what is ahead is greater than what's behind. You don't have to stay bound to the weight of yesterday when there is a new beginning waiting for you. The power was never in holding on. It has always been in your ability to release, to trust, and to make room for something better. Pain has a way of shaping us, molding us, and revealing truths we might never have discovered otherwise. It is not meant to imprison us in sorrow or regret, but to teach us lessons that only hardship can provide. Every scar tells a story, not of defeat, but of survival. The wounds that once made you feel broken are the very things that have strengthened you, deepened your wisdom, and refined your character. Pain is not your enemy. It is a messenger carrying the wisdom that only comes through experience. When you treat pain as a prison, you allow it to confine you, to limit your potential, and to dictate how you see yourself. You replay the hurt, rehearse the betrayal, and let it define what you believe you deserve. You sit behind the bars of bitterness, fear, and doubt, convinced that you will never move beyond what happened. But pain was never meant to keep you there. It is not a life sentence. It is a lesson. And lessons are meant to be learned, not lived in forever. Pain teaches resilience. It teaches strength. It reveals what truly matters, who truly cares, and what you are truly capable of enduring. It forces growth, pushing you beyond comfort into a version of yourself you never thought possible. It strips away illusions and exposes truth. It prepares you for the future by making sure you are not naive about the world, but wise enough to navigate it. Pain, when embraced as a teacher, transforms you. It does not erase the past, but it equips you for the future. You cannot avoid it, but you can decide whether it will imprison you in fear or empower you with wisdom. Destiny is a journey that demands space for new beginnings, but too often people try to step into their future while clinging to what was. You cannot receive what is meant for you if your hands are full of things that no longer serve you. Carrying the weight of past failures, expired relationships, and broken dreams only slows you down and keeps you from embracing what is ahead. There are doors waiting to open, but you can't walk through them if you are still holding on to what's behind you. Letting go isn't just an emotional release, it's a spiritual preparation. It is making room for what's coming by releasing what is no longer aligned with where you are going. You may have poured your heart into something that didn't work out, but that doesn't mean you're empty. It means you're available. Available for healing, available for growth, available for opportunities that could never reach you while you were holding on to something that wasn't meant to last. There is a difference between what was meant to shape you and what was meant to stay with you. Some things are part of your foundation, but they are not part of your future. When you refuse to let go, you unknowingly block the very things you've been praying for. You ask for new doors to open, but refuse to close the old ones. You ask for fresh blessings, but keep clinging to expired seasons. Your destiny requires empty hands because it demands full faith. It requires trust that what is ahead is worth more than what you're leaving behind. The only way to truly receive is to first release. The only way to move forward is to stop holding on. Growth is not a gentle process. It stretches you, pushes you, and demands more from you than you feel ready to give. It disrupts comfort, forcing you out of familiar spaces and into the unknown. There is nothing easy about growth, but there is also nothing more necessary. Staying the same may feel safe, but it robs you of everything you were created to become. Comfort zones may offer security, but they do not offer transformation. The version of you that you are meant to be cannot exist in the same place as the version of you that you are refusing to let go of. Every season of growth comes with resistance. You will question yourself, wrestle with fear, and wonder if the process is worth it. You will be tempted to retreat back to what is familiar, even if it no longer fits you. Growth requires you to confront things you once ignored. It requires you to let go of excuses, unhealthy habits, and limiting beliefs. It forces you to face discomfort, not as a punishment, but as a preparation for what is ahead. There is no strength without struggle, no wisdom without lessons, and no elevation without change. The pain of growth is far less damaging than the pain of staying the same. You were never meant to remain in a place where you are no longer evolving. Stagnation is silent suffocation, and while it may feel easier in the moment, it will always cost you in the long run. The discomfort you feel in the process is only temporary, but the reward of transformation lasts a lifetime. The more you resist change, the longer you delay your purpose. Growth will challenge you, but it will never leave you empty. It will always leave you better. Fear has a way of making you believe that staying where you are is safer than stepping into the unknown. It convinces you that uncertainty is more dangerous than stagnation, that the risk of failure outweighs the possibility of growth. But what if the unknown isn't a threat? What if it's an invitation, an open door to something greater than you have ever imagined? Fear doesn't warn you about real danger, it warns you about discomfort. It makes you feel as though moving forward is impossible simply because you cannot predict every step. The unknown is not your enemy, but fear will make it feel that way. It will keep you trapped in places you have outgrown, surrounded by habits, people, and routines that no longer align with who you are becoming. You will find yourself holding on to things that are draining you simply because they are familiar. But familiarity is not the same as fulfillment. You can be comfortable and still be empty. You can be safe and still be unsatisfied. Fear of the unknown doesn't protect you, it paralyzes you. Everything you desire is on the other side of fear. The life you dream of, the opportunities you long for, the healing you need, it all requires you to step into what you cannot yet see. The unknown is not a void, it is a canvas. It is a space where transformation happens, where faith is built, and where purpose unfolds. If you let fear control you, you will never discover what was meant for you. The longer you wait for certainty, the longer you delay your destiny. Fear may whisper doubt, but your future is waiting for you to move anyway. Change does not start with action, it starts with mindset. You can force yourself to adopt new habits, but if your mind is still attached to old patterns, you will eventually return to what is familiar. Real transformation happens when your mindset shifts, when the way you think, believe, and perceive yourself is no longer tied to the version of you that you are trying to leave behind. The mind must break before the habits do, because habits are a reflection of belief. You cannot break cycles while thinking the same way that created them. You cannot step into a new season with an old mindset and expect different results. If you believe you are still unworthy, undeserving, or incapable, your actions will reflect that. No matter how much effort you put into changing on the surface, this is why many people struggle to maintain progress. They modify their behavior, but their thoughts remain unchanged. The moment pressure comes, they default to what they have always known because the mind was never renewed. Breaking the mind is not about losing yourself. It is about losing the limitations that have kept you bound. It is about challenging the thoughts that tell you success is not for you, that healing is out of reach, that change is impossible. It is about unlearning survival mode, stepping out of fear-based thinking, and embracing the truth that you are capable of more. When your mind shifts, your actions will follow. Your habits will naturally align with the new reality you have embraced. But if you try to change the habits without first transforming the mindset, you will always find yourself stuck in the same cycles, wondering why things never seem to truly change. Mistakes are moments, not identities. They are experiences, not definitions. Too often people carry the weight of their failures as if they are permanent labels, allowing their past missteps to dictate their worth and their future. But a wrong decision, a missed opportunity, or even a series of failures does not mean you are unworthy of growth, love, or success. What you have done is not who you are. Your mistakes do not disqualify you from becoming the person you were meant to be. Growth is impossible without mistakes. Every lesson learned, every ounce of wisdom gained comes from moments where things did not go as planned. Mistakes are evidence that you tried, that you took risks, that you were willing to step into something new, even if you didn't get it right the first time. The danger is not in making mistakes. It is in believing that those mistakes define your future. When you allow yourself to be consumed by guilt and shame, you build a prison out of past regrets, never realizing that freedom was available all along. The most powerful transformations come from those who refuse to be chained by their failures. They take what was meant to break them and turn it into a foundation for something greater. They understand that redemption is always possible, that change is always within reach, and that no mistake is bigger than their potential. You are not meant to live in a cycle of self-condemnation. Every day you wake up is another opportunity to rewrite the narrative, to choose growth over guilt, to choose progress over perfection. The only way a mistake defines you is if you let it. You are not your past. You are not your failures. You are who you decide to become next. The past has a way of calling you back, whispering memories of what was, making you relive moments that can no longer be changed. You go over the details, analyzing what you could have done differently, replaying conversations that have long since ended, holding on to emotions that no longer serve you. But the more you replay old chapters, the more you delay the new story waiting to be written. You cannot move forward while your mind is still living in what has already happened. Replaying old chapters does not bring healing, it only keeps the wounds fresh. It does not provide closure, it only deepens the pain. The longer you dwell on what is already written, the more you keep yourself stuck in a cycle of regret, resentment, and longing. You are not meant to live in the past. You are not meant to keep opening doors that God has already closed. There is nothing left for you in what was. What is ahead of you is far greater, but you will never see it if you are too busy looking back. Letting go of the past is not about forgetting. It is about choosing not to let it control you. It is about recognizing that what happened cannot be changed, but what happens next is in your hands. Every time you revisit an old chapter, you waste time that could be spent writing a new one. Life is still unfolding, still offering you new opportunities, still calling you forward. Stop reliving old pain. Stop revisiting moments that no longer exist. Stop giving power to a story that has already been written. The future cannot begin until you stop reading the pages of a book that has already ended. Faith is more than belief. It is movement. It is not just the hope that something will change, but the willingness to step forward even when nothing has changed yet. Too many people wait for perfect conditions, for absolute certainty, for a sign so clear that there is no risk involved. But faith does not work that way. Faith requires stepping into the unknown before you see the outcome. It demands action, even when fear tells you to wait. You cannot say you have faith in something while refusing to act on it. You cannot believe for growth while staying in the same place. You cannot pray for an opportunity while turning away every door that requires you to leave your comfort zone. Faith without action is not faith at all. It is wishful thinking. If you truly believe that greater is ahead, then your steps must align with that belief. Sitting still, waiting for everything to fall into place is not faith. Faith is moving forward before you have all the answers. It is trusting that what you need will be provided along the way. Every major breakthrough, every transformation, every victory begins with a decision to act. Faith does not remove the need for effort, it requires it. The moment you take action, you activate the very thing you have been believing for. The doors you seek will not open until you walk toward them. The change you desire will not come until you take the first step. Faith will stretch you, test you, and push you beyond what is comfortable, but it will always lead you to more. The evidence of faith is not just in what you believe, but in what you are willing to do because of that belief. You were not created to live in a constant state of struggle, weighed down by the burdens of your past and the expectations of others. You were not meant to simply survive, carrying pain as if it were a permanent part of your identity. You deserve more than just getting by. You deserve joy, peace, and the freedom of a fresh start. But sometimes the hardest thing to accept is that you are worthy of the very things you long for. Joy is not something you have to earn. It is not a reward for perfection, nor is it only for those who have never made mistakes. It is your birthright. You do not have to keep punishing yourself for past failures or remain in environments that steal your happiness. You deserve to wake up excited about life, to laugh without guilt, to experience moments of pure, unshaken happiness without feeling like they will be taken away. Peace is possible, but it requires release. You cannot have peace while holding on to things that disrupt your spirit. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It means choosing yourself. It means refusing to allow chaos, negativity, or toxic cycles to have power over your life. Peace is not found in external circumstances. It is something you create by deciding what you will and will not allow into your space. A fresh start is always available. No matter how many times you have fallen, no matter what has happened, today is a new opportunity. You are not bound by yesterday's mistakes, nor do you have to wait for permission to begin again. You deserve a life that feels whole, fulfilling, and free. And the moment you start believing that, everything begins to change. Life is too short to live in the shadows of fear, regret, and hesitation. You are not meant to be weighed down by past mistakes, trapped in cycles that no longer serve you, or held back by the fear of the unknown. Growth requires discomfort, faith requires action, and healing requires release. Everything you desire, joy, peace, purpose, is within reach, but you must be willing to let go of what no longer aligns with where you are going. The past cannot define you unless you allow it to. The pain you have endured was never meant to imprison you. It was meant to prepare you. The journey ahead will not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. Transformation is not a single moment, but a daily decision to choose better, to walk in faith, to break the mental barriers that have kept you stuck. You must believe that you are worthy of new beginnings, worthy of happiness, worthy of freedom. Your destiny requires empty hands, an open heart, and the courage to move forward even when the path is uncertain. The only way to step into what is waiting for you is to stop looking back at what you have already outgrown. It is time to stop replaying old chapters, stop doubting your potential, and stop waiting for perfect conditions to move. The life you dream of is possible, but only if you are willing to act on your faith, to embrace the discomfort of growth, and to trust that what is ahead is greater than what is behind. Let go, step forward, and live the life you are meant to live. The time is now. The choice is yours. Thank you.